Welcome to the Book Voices channel. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with our latest book discussions. Now let's dive into today's book.
Deals are my art form. Yeah, that's a pretty bold statement, right?
It is.
Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Where we take a big stack of sources and kind of distill them down to just the good stuff for you. And today we're going deep, really deep, into the mind of Donald Trump
Oh, interesting.
through excerpts from his book, Trump, The Art of the Deal.
Oh, yeah, this is a classic.
Classic.
This book is really fascinating because it's sort of two things at once.
Okay.
It's part memoir, where he shares anecdotes
Yeah.
from his,
Career.
his career. Exactly. But then it's also presented as like
Okay.
a guide to his business philosophies.
Right.
And I think at the time it really offered, a lot of readers a pretty direct look into the strategies of a really prominent figure in business. I mean, think about it. This was, pre-presidency, everything else we know now. Even initial reactions, some of which are quoted in the book itself, described it as, fascinating.
Yeah.
And highlighted this persona of Trump as a master wheeler dealer.
Well, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack for you.
Yeah.
Think of this as your, fast track to understanding some of the core tenets of Trump's approach to business and negotiation.
Right.
And you don't have to read the whole book.
Exactly.
We're doing that for you.
Yep.
We're going to explore the key principles of his deal making, illustrated by all the stories he shares in the book. So.
Right. And I think if you zoom out for a second, understanding a mindset like this can be valuable in, all sorts of contexts.
Right.
Like it provides insights into a particular style of, leadership, negotiation, strategic thinking that operated on a really, really large stage. I mean, the question we can kind of explore is what can we actually learn about these dynamics, even if, not all the specific tactics or things that,
Everyone's going to want to use.
everyone would use or be applicable in every situation.
Right. So the book starts off by sort of offering us a glimpse into Trump's self-described daily work life. He calls it a very loose style. He says, no briefcase, open door policy, really emphasizing spontaneity.
Yeah.
But then as you read through the excerpts detailing his week, this very different picture kind of emerges.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, this contrast between the image and then the sheer volume of activity that's described. Early starts, a constant barrage of phone calls.
Yeah, he mentions getting...
100 a day,
Yeah, sometimes over 100 a day.
Yeah.
And just tons of short meetings.
Yeah.
And he mentions skipping lunch a lot, working late.
Even weekends.
Yeah, even on weekends.
Yeah.
So it really...
paints a pretty different picture than that loose style, huh?
And within this super intense schedule, we get these concrete examples of his interactions.
Okay.
One that stands out is this time he was offering advice to Abraham Hirschfeld, who was, I think, another real estate developer who was thinking about running for office.
Right. And the immediate assessment that Trump makes is that, Hirschfeld's a better developer than politician.
Right.
And I think that really highlights his strong self-confidence.
Yeah.
And maybe a quick judgment of others' strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Outside their primary field.
Right.
I mean, it kind of suggests that he has a very clear idea of what makes someone successful.
Right.
In different arenas.
Then there's this, rather dramatic
anecdote involving a Mrs. Hill.
Okay.
And a bank foreclosure. So Trump says he intervened by threatening the bank with a lawsuit for essentially causing the death of Mrs. Hill's husband.
Okay.
Through harassment.
Wow. Okay. So this is a powerful example of like a really aggressive, definitely unconventional tactic. I mean, whether it had like solid legal grounding is almost beside the point, you know? The key takeaway is the immediate effect that it had.
Right.
The bank got nervous and backed down.
Right.
So it really showcases his willingness to escalate situations and use, dramatic, even seemingly outlandish measures to get what he wants.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about the legality here. It was about,
Right.
creating immediate fear and disruption,
Yeah.
which is a key, albeit controversial
Yeah.
tactic in his arsenal. Yeah. And then we see, I don't know, it's kind of a glimpse into the
Right.
world of Broadway when he's discussing, theater with Jerry Schoenfeld,
Okay.
who, is the head of the Schubert organization.
Yep. Yep.
And Schoenfeld even offers him help
Wow.
getting tickets
For
the hit show Cats.
Yeah.
And it's just, this kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, this seemingly casual interaction,
Yeah.
but it reveals his broad network of
Mhm.
connections.
Yeah.
Extending beyond just
Yeah.
real estate.
Right.
And I think, being offered those sought-after theater tickets
Right.
kind of underscores his position
Mm-hmm.
and the access he had to all these influential circles
Yeah.
across different industries.
So then, amidst all these various calls and favors,
Yeah.
he's being deposed
Mm-hmm.
as part of a lawsuit related to Trump Tower.
Wow.
And he states that he dislikes lawsuits, but emphasizes the need
Yeah.
to stand your ground when you're challenged.
Right. And this,
Yeah.
this little detail serves as a reminder that
Yeah.
his very public dealings
Yeah.
often brought legal challenges
Right.
with them.
Yeah.
His philosophy of fighting back,
Mhm.
even when he says he personally dislikes the process,
Yeah.
appears to be, pretty consistent.
Yeah.
And he even notes that, his very public persona,
Yeah.
Donald Trump,
Mm-hmm.
often made him a target
Right.
for these kinds of lawsuits.
He also talks about this potential real estate deal
Okay.
with Lee Iacocca.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, the well-known figure who turned around Chrysler.
Yeah.
Mentioning, a mutual acquaintance, William Fugazi, who
Right.
kind of facilitated
Yeah.
the connection.
So the fact that he was considering
Yeah.
such a significant investment
Yeah.
with someone like Iacocca
Mm-hmm.
really speaks to the scale of his ambitions.
And the level of people that he was working with.
Yeah.
The added detail about, Iacocca potentially hiring a lawyer that Trump didn't like
Right.
introduces this whole personal and
Yeah.
strategic dimension
Yeah.
to these high-level
Yeah.
discussions.
And we also see family kind of figuring into his dealings.
Okay.
He mentions a call with his sister,
Yeah.
Judge Marianne Barry,
Okay.
regarding a lawsuit in Atlantic City
Okay.
and arranging for her husband
Stuff.
to handle the appeal.
So this highlights how,
Yeah.
family and business were kind of intertwined in
Yeah.
his life.
Yeah.
Leveraging his sister's legal expertise and his brother-in-law's skills.
Right.
It really suggests that he had this close family network that he
Yeah.
could rely on.
So moving into his large-scale development plans,
Okay.
he discusses his efforts
Yeah.
to persuade Henry Kanigsberg of NBC.
Okay. To relocate the
Yeah.
network's headquarters
Yeah.
to his proposed West Side Yards development.
Okay.
And he mentions Bloomingdale's interest in being a major tenant.
Okay.
And, the city's general excitement about the project.
I see. So this really showcases
Yeah.
his persuasive abilities
Mhm.
and his capacity to really articulate
Yeah.
a grand vision for a project.
Yeah.
By mentioning
Yeah.
these established desirable brands like Bloomingdale's
Yeah.
and highlighting the perceived enthusiasm
Yeah.
from the city, he's trying to build momentum and credibility
Yeah.
for his ambitious plans.
So then in a kind of, I don't know, surprising potential collaboration,
Okay.
he considers hiring Steve Rubell and Ian Schrager,
Oh, wow.
the creators of Studio 54, the Palladium,
Yeah.
to manage the Beverly Hills Hotel.
That's an unexpected connection
Yeah.
to the nightlife
Yeah.
and entertainment industry.
Yeah.
It suggests that, he's open
Mm.
to exploring diverse business opportunities and
Yeah.
bringing in, people who are known
Yeah.
for generating buzz.
Mm-hmm.
But his underlying business principle, I think, remains.
Yeah.
He states that he's only interested if he can acquire the hotel
Yeah.
at the right price.
At the right price.
Yeah.
He mentions monitoring the stock of Holiday Corporation
Okay.
and learning about their poison pill strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And just for, people who aren't familiar,
Yeah.
a poison pill strategy is a tactic that companies use
Right.
to make themselves less attractive for a hostile takeover.
Exactly.
It essentially makes the company too expensive or
Yeah.
difficult to acquire.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. his awareness
Yeah.
of this tactic, I think,
Yeah.
demonstrates his
Yeah.
interest in these corporate acquisitions
Mhm.
and the strategic maneuvering that's involved. He even expresses this like amusement, I think,
Right.
at the
Yeah.
the methods that companies use
Yeah.
to protect their independence.
He also recounts dealing with security issues
Okay.
at the Woolman rink.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a much more
Right.
down-to-earth
Yeah.
kind of detail.
Yeah, the smaller anecdotes, I think, offer like this more humanizing perspective.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they show that he wasn't just focused on, billion-dollar deals,
Right.
but also on the realities of
Yeah.
managing these businesses.
Financial matters, particularly taxes,
Yeah.
were also, clearly on his radar.
Okay.
He discusses the potential negative impact
Mhm.
of new tax legislation on
Right.
the real estate industry
Yeah.
with his accountant, Jack Mitnick.
Mm.
And he even calls Senator John Danforth
Okay.
to commend him
Wow.
for his opposition to the bill.
So this demonstrates an understanding
Yeah.
of the broader economic
Yeah.
and political factors that could affect his business.
Yeah.
And, the call to Senator Danforth suggests a respect for individuals who stand by their convictions, even when it has those political implications.
On a more personal note,
Okay.
he admits his dislike
Yeah.
for social events,
Okay.
parties,
Yeah.
small talk, but acknowledges
Yeah.
their necessity
You to do it.
in the professional world.
Right. It's, I think this provides a glimpse into
Yeah.
his personality a bit.
Yeah.
It reveals a preference for,
Yeah.
more substantive interactions over, the
Yeah.
superficial social engagements.
Right.
But still recognizes
Yeah.
the strategic value of networking in
Yeah.
business. So
Yeah.
we also see this
I don't know, instance of strategic flexibility
Right.
when he reconsiders his potential takeover of Holiday Corporation
Right.
due to these very specific licensing requirements
Oh, yeah.
for casinos in Nevada.
This shows his ability to adapt
Yeah.
his plans
Mhm.
based on regulatory hurdles
Yeah.
and to really evaluate
Yeah.
different options,
Yeah.
rather than just
Yeah.
rigidly pursuing
Yeah.
one single course of action.
Family makes another appearance
Right.
with a quick mention of his brother Robert's personality
Yeah.
and their close relationship.
Yeah.
He even uses the term honey, which he notes,
Okay.
was unique in his life.
So this personal touch, I
Yeah.
think, offers a contrast
Mhm.
to, his often
Yeah.
assertive public image.
Yeah.
It reveals a more,
Yeah.
affectionate side,
Right.
within his family relationship
Environmental consideration.
also come into play.
Okay.
He discusses the issue
Yeah.
of the NBC smokestack
Mm-hmm.
and the niche for an environmental impact statement
Okay.
for the West Side Yards development.
Right. So this indicates his awareness of environmental regulations as part of these large-scale projects.
Yeah, and he talks about leaving a message for Herbert Sturz
Okay.
at the City Planning Commission
Mhm.
concerning the West Side Yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of...
Right. This, kind of highlights the importance of
Yeah.
those early connections and
Yeah.
building relationships with these key people.
And his longtime legal counsel, Gerald Schrager, is
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
in the context of discussions about, various deals,
Right.
emphasizing the value
Yeah.
of having trusted advisors.
And the description of Schrager as this highly efficient business machine.
Who could quickly grasp,
Mhm.
the core of a deal,
Right.
really emphasizes the importance he placed on having,
Right.
experienced and effective legal counsel.
And then wife, Ivana,
Yeah.
also played a significant role in his business.
Mhm.
He mentions her visiting before going to Atlantic City
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
her management of Trump's castle.
Right?
Even, engaging in a little bit of
Good.
playful competition about its performance.
So this showcases like Ivana's own business acumen
Yeah.
and their partnership, with
Yeah.
her directly overseeing this
Yeah.
major operation.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
his competitive nature, I
Yeah.
think, clearly extended to those
Right.
in his inner circle.
So exploring opportunities beyond real estate,
Yeah.
casinos,
Yeah.
he discusses this potential collaboration
Okay.
with Cadillac
Yeah.
to create a Trump Golden Series limousine.
Interesting. So this indicates his willingness
Yeah.
to explore
Yeah.
branding opportunities
Yeah.
across different industries.
Securing financing was obviously
Yeah.
crucial.
Of course.
He mentions meeting with casino analyst Daniel Lee
Okay.
from Drexel Burnham Lambert.
Yeah.
He even touches on the era of Michael Milken and junk bonds,
Yeah.
although he ultimately remained loyal to Alan Greenberg.
So this provides a glimpse into the
Yeah.
financial landscape of the
Yeah.
time
Right.
and his considerations regarding different financing options
Right.
and also his value
Mhm.
for those established business relationships.
And then the world of sports
Yeah.
also got his interest.
Okay.
He gets a call from former football star Larry Kersanka
Yeah.
regarding a potential venture
Okay.
in
Okay.
Canadian football.
So once again,
Yeah.
it kind of illustrates, this
Yeah.
broad range of interests
Yeah.
and willingness to consider these diverse opportunities,
Yeah.
even if he had reservations
Mhm.
about this specific idea.
He mentions congratulating Calvin Klein
Yeah.
on the expansion of his business at Trump Tower,
Mm-hmm.
highlighting how, the success of one venture can contribute
Right.
to the success of others
Yeah.
within his properties.
So this demonstrates the positive relationships
Yeah.
that he maintained with his tenants,
Yeah.
especially those successful ones,
Right.
which further enhances,
Yeah.
the prestige and
Mhm.
desirability of his buildings.
He also, his communication style is
Okay.
pretty evident.
Yeah.
He mentions personally writing
Okay.
letters
Mm-hmm.
to critics.
So this reveals, his direct, often confrontational
Yeah.
approach to
Yeah.
those who express, negative opinions about him.
Family life continues to be, interwoven.
Okay.
He mentions visiting a private school
Yeah.
with Ivana
Okay.
for their daughter.
Right. So these small personal details, I think,
Yeah.
offer a brief contrast
Yeah.
to those high stakes
Yeah.
business dealings
hmm
that dominate
Yeah.
so much of the book.
Publicity was a key
Yeah.
part of his strategy,
Yeah.
as demonstrated by his press conference at Woolman Rink, where
Yeah.
he, famously participated in
Shoveling concrete.
shoveling concrete for the camera.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this...
This underscores his understanding of the power of
Mhm.
image and
Mhm.
his willingness
Mhm.
to engage in,
Yeah.
even these mundane activities
Right.
for the sake of
hmm
positive media attention.
Returning phone calls,
Mhm.
contacting Arthur Barron of Gulf and Western
Okay.
about potential theater space
Uh-huh.
in a new building.
Right. So this shows
Yeah.
his proactive approach
Mhm.
to seeking out these
Mm.
new ventures.
Yeah. Even while considering
Mhm.
potential sales,
Okay.
he expresses this real strong attachment
Okay.
to the West Side Yards,
Mhm.
calling it the best undeveloped real estate site in the world.
Yeah.
So this reveals this
Yeah, like an emotional connection to these
yeah.
projects that goes
Yeah.
beyond
Right.
purely financial
Right.
consideration.
So a big real estate deal
All right.
he details is
Yeah.
the acquisition of Mar-a-Lago
Right.
at what he considered a bargain price.
Mhm.
And he really emphasizes
Okay.
the speed
All
and
right.
decisiveness
Yeah.
of his actions,
Right.
while acknowledging
Yeah.
the substantial
Yeah.
upkeep costs.
Right. So this anecdote illustrates
Yeah.
his opportunistic approach to real estate acquisitions.
Yeah.
Identifying the potential value
Yeah.
where others might not
Yeah.
and acting quickly.
Yeah. And his attention to detail
Yeah.
extends to, his
Yeah.
personal properties,
Okay.
as seen in a call with a pool contractor at Mar-a-Lago.
So once again,
Yeah.
it highlights his involvement
Mhm.
in even
Yeah.
the minor aspects of his property.
Yeah.
This marks the end of part 1 of our book discussion. If you enjoyed the content, let us know in the comments. Your feedback will help us decide when to share part 2.